Hare Krishna, we continue reading from Caitaniya Caritamita, Adi Leela, chapter 10. We're reading the purport of text 135 to 136 by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra, Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda, Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya, Jaya Nityananda, Jaya Advaita Chandra, Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. In the Gaurganadesh Dipika 189, it is said that Shikhi Mahiti was formerly an assistant of Srimati Radharani named Ragalekha. His sister Madhavi was also an assistant of Srimati Radharani and was named Kalakeli. So Sikhi Mahiti in Krishna Leela, he was a gopi, Ragalekha. She was Srimati Radharani's assistant. And Sikhi Mahiti's sister, Madhavi, Sikhi Mahiti's sister Madhavi, now she was also an assistant of Radharani. And her name was Kalakeli. So both these assistants of Srimati Radharani, Ragalekha, became Sikhi Mahiti in Caitanya Leela, and Kalakeli has become Madhavi in Caitanya Leela. Shikhi Mahiti, Madhavi, and their brother Murari Mahiti were all unalloyed devotees of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu who could not forget him for a moment of their lives. There is a book in the Oriya language called Caitanya Caritamita Mahakavya, in which there are many narrations about Sikhi Mahiti. One narration concerns his seeing an ecstatic dream. Sikhi Mahiti always engaged in serving the Lord in his mind. One night, while he was rendering such service, he fell asleep, and while he was asleep, his brother and sister came to awaken him. At that time, he was in full ecstasy because he was having a wonderful dream that Lord Chaitanya, while visiting the temple of Jagannath, was entering and again coming out of the body of Jagannath and looking at the Jagannath deity. Thus, as soon as he awakened, he embraced his brother and sister and informed them, "My dear brother and sister, I have had a wonderful dream that I shall now explain to you." So Sikhi Mahiti was always thinking of the Lord. He was physically performing services, and also by his mind he was performing services. And one time, while he was performing uh, this service in the mind, it's a bona fide way of service. We will hear about it in detail in Nectar of Devotion. His brother and sister came to wake him up. And when he fell asleep, he had a wonderful dream. And what was the dream? That he was seeing in the Jagannath Mandir, Lord Chaitanya was entering into the form of Jagannath and coming out, and entering into the form of Jagannath and again coming out. And so then now his brother and sister have woken him up. Now he's saying, "I'll tell you what I saw in my dream. The activities of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the son of Mother Sachi, are certainly most wonderful. I saw that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, while visiting the temple of Jagannath, was entering the body of Jagannath and again coming out of his body. I'm still seeing the same dream. Do you think I've become deranged? I'm still seeing the same dream. And the most wonderful thing is that as soon as I came near Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he embraced me with his long arms." So Sikhi Mahiti is telling his brother and sister of his dream, and he's asking, "Do you think I've become crazy? Do you think I've become mad? I'm again and again seeing the dream. You've woken me up. I'm still being able to see the dream that Lord Chaitanya is entering into the form of Jagannath and he's coming out." And then he embraced me. As Sikhi spoke to his brother and sister in this way, his voice faltered, and there were tears in his eyes. Thus the brothers and sister went to the temple of Jagannath, and there they saw Lord Chaitanya in the Jagmohan Kirtan hall, looking at the beauty of Sri Jagannath deity, just as in Sikhi Mahiti's dream. The Lord was so magnanimous that he immediately embraced Sikhi Mahiti, exclaiming, "You are the elder brother of Murari." So Lord Chaitanya, he is the Supreme Lord. So he knows what dream uh, this one, the Sikhi Mahiti has had. And so then now he's saying that, he's letting the dream come true. In the dream, um, Sikhi Mahiti saw that Lord Chaitanya was embracing him. And so here now, Lord Chaitanya is embracing Sikhi Mahiti when Sikhi Mahiti has come personally to the Jagannath Mandir. And Lord Chaitanya is telling him, "You're the elder brother of Murari." Being thus embraced, Sikhi Mahiti felt ecstatic transcendental bliss. Thus he and his brother and sister always engaged in rendering service to the Lord. Murari Mahiti, the younger brother of Sikhi Mahiti, is described in the Madhya Leela, chapter 10, verse 44. So we will hear about Murari Mahiti later in the Madhya Leela. Madhavi Devi, Sikhi Mahi, Tira Bhagini, Shri Radhara Dasi Madhye Yanrana Makani. Madhavi Devi, the 17th and prominent devotees, was the younger sister of Sikhi Mahiti. She is considered to have formerly been a maidservant of Srimati Radharani. So we just heard that Sikhi Mahiti, his sister was Madhavi Devi, and in Krishna Leela, she was assistant of Srimati Radharani. In the Antya Leela of Caitanya Caritamrita, chapter 2, verses 104 to 106, there is a description of Madhavi Devi. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu considered her one of the maidservants of Srimati Radharani. Within this world, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had 3.5 very confidential devotees. So Lord Chaitanya, when he performed his pastimes here on earth, he had 3 devotees which were very confidential. He would speak of the confidential topics of Krishna's pastimes with only these 3 devotees, not with everyone. Lord Chaitanya, with everyone, he would just be chanting Hare Krishna. He would be doing Sankirtan, but discussing the pastimes, the confidential pastimes of Krishna, was only with this 3.5, it said, 3.5 confidential devotees. They are Swarup Damodar Goswami, Sri Ramananda Raya, Sikhi Mahiti, and Sikhi Mahiti's sister Madhavi Devi, being a woman, was considered the half. Thus, it is known that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had 3.5 confidential devotees. Ishvara Purira Shishya Brahmachari Kashishvara Shri Govinda Nama Tanra Priyanuchara. Brahmachari Kashishwar was a disciple of Ishvara Puri, and Sri Govinda was another of his disciples. So Ishvara Puri, he had many disciples, and Govinda is one of his disciples, and so is Kashishwara Brahmachari. Govinda was the personal servant of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Yeah. So Ishvara Puri is also the spiritual master of Lord Chaitanya. So means Lord Chaitanya, Govinda, and Kashishwara Brahmachari, they're all god brothers. They're all god brothers. But Ishvara Puri had asked Govinda to serve Lord Chaitanya. So it happens that the god brother can serve another god brother. Govinda was the personal servant of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. In the Gaur-Ganodesh Dipika 137, it is stated that the servants formerly named Bringar and Bangura in Vrindavan became Kashishwara and Govinda in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes. So the servants Bringar and Bangura, they were in Vrindavan, Krishna's servants, and they have become, in Chaitanya Lila, they become Govinda and Kashishwara. Govinda always engaged in the service of the Lord, even at great risk. Tanra Siddhi Kale, Done Tanra Agya Pancha, Nila Chale Prabhusthane, Milila Asiya. In the list of prominent devotees at Nilachal, Jagannath Puri, Kashishwar was the 18th and Govinda the 19th. They both came to see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu at Jagannath Puri, being thus ordered by Ishvara Puri at the time of his passing away. So Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, the author, has been telling us about the prominent devotees at Jagannath Puri, and he's saying that Kashishwar Brahmachari, Kashishwar Pandit, he is 18th, Govinda is 19th, and they were both ordered by their spiritual master Ishvara Puri to go to Jagannath Puri to be with Lord Chaitanya. Gurura Sambandhe Manya Kaila Dunha Kare Tanra Agyamani Seva Dilena Donhare. Both Kashishwar and Govinda were god brothers of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and thus the Lord duly honored them as soon as they arrived. But because Ishvara Puri had ordered them to give Chaitanya Mahaprabhu personal service, the Lord accepted their service. So they all got brothers. But Ishvara Puri, the spiritual master, had told Kashishwar and he had told Govinda that you serve Lord Chaitanya. And that's how Lord Chaitanya was accepting their service. Otherwise, he wouldn't have accepted. Anga seva govindere dilena ishvara Jagannath dekhite chalena age Kashishwara. Govinda cared for the body of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, whereas Kashishwar went in front of the Lord when he went to see Jagannath in the temple. So Govinda was the personal servant of Lord Chaitanya, personal servant, and Kashishwar, he would be like a bodyguard when Lord Chaitanya would go to see the Lord Jagannath in the temple. Kashishwar would go in front of him because there were so many people who would want to, come forward to be with Lord Chaitanya. So for the safety of Lord Chaitanya, to maintain a little distance, Kashishwar would go in front to clear the way for Lord Chaitanya. Apara Shayaya Gosai Manushya Gahane Manushya Theli Patha Kare Kashi Balavane. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to the temple of Jagannath, Kashishwar, being very strong, cleared the crowds aside with his hands so that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu could pass untouched. Ramai Nandai Done Prabhu Kinkara Govindera Sange Seva Kare Nirantara. Ramai and Nandai, the 20th and 21st, among the important devotees in Jagannath Puri, always assisted Govinda 24 hours a day in rendering service to the Lord. So the 18th and 19th were Kashishwar and Govinda. And 20 and 21st are Ramai and Nandai. And they were assistants to Govinda. They are assisting Govinda in serving Lord Chaitanya. Vaisha Gada Jale Dine Bharena Ramai Govinda Ajnaya Seva Karena Nandai. Every day, Ramai filled 22 big water pots, whereas Nandai personally assisted Govinda. In the Gorgonadesh Tipika 139, it is stated that two servants who formerly supplied milk and water to Lord Krishna became Ramai and Nandai in the pastimes of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Ramai and Nandai of Chaitanya Leela, they were also there in Krishna Leela, and they would give milk and water to Krishna. And here also, what Ramai was doing every day, he filled 22 big water pots. And then Nandai, what he was doing, he was personally assisting Govinda. Krishna Das Nama Shuddha Kulina Brahmana Yare Sangela Ya Kaila Dakshina Gamana. The 22nd devotee Krishna Das was born of a pure and respectable Brahmana family. While touring southern India, Lord Chaitanya took Krishna Das with him. Krishna Das is described in the Madhya Lila chapters 7 and 9. He went with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to carry his water pot. So Krishna Das, he's the 22nd devotee. He's born in a Brahmana family. And when Lord Chaitanya had gone to South India, Krishna Das had gone with him. He went with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to carry his water pot. In the Malabar state, members of the Bhattathari cult tried to captivate Krishna Das by supplying a woman to seduce him. But although Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu saved him from being harmed, when they returned to Jagannath Puri, he ordered that Krishna Das remain separate for him, for the Lord was never favorably disposed toward an associate who was attracted by a woman. Thus, Krishna Das lost the personal association of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So, Krishna Das, a personal servant of Lord Chaitanya, when Lord Chaitanya went to southern India, Krishna Das was his servant. He would help him hold the water pot. He would assist him. But what happened when they were in Malabar state? There's a cult called the Bhattathari, and they wanted to keep Krishna Das with themselves. So then they sent a woman, and Krishna Das was being captivated by her. But Lord Chaitanya saved him. Lord Chaitanya brought him back. He said, he's mine. And after they returned back to Jagannath Puri, then Lord Chaitanya told Krishna Das, no, I'm not going to see you anymore. So he was a personal associate of the Lord, but he lost the association. Balabhadra Bhattacharya Bhakti Adhikari Mathura Gamane Prabhura Yenho Brahmachari. As a bona fide devotee, Balabhadra Bhattacharya, the 23rd principal associate, acted as the brahmachari of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu when he toured Mathura. Balabhadra Bhattacharya acted as a brahmachari or personal assistant of a sannyasi. A sannyasi is not supposed to cook. Generally, a sannyasi takes prasadam at the house of a grahas, and a brahmachari helps in this connection. A sannyasi is supposed to be a spiritual master and a brahmachari his disciple. Balabhadra Bhattacharya acted as a brahmachari for Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu when the Lord toured Mathura and Vrindavan. So Balabhadra Bhattacharya, he accompanied Lord Chaitanya in his travels to Vrindavan. He would cook for him. He acted as his personal servant because generally before the sannyasis would not cook. And then anyway, it's mentioned here, sannyasi is not supposed to cook. And so a sannyasi is usually going to eat in the house of a grihast, or a brahmachari helps. Brahmachari helps with the cooking of the Lord. So Balabhadra Bhattacharya would help. So then we may ask, but Srila Prabhupada was cooking. In fact, he taught wonderful, wonderful cooking to all the disciples. Well, because he is cooking for Krishna. He's not cooking for his pleasure. He's cooking bhoga for Krishna, offering to Krishna, and then distributing to everyone as prasad. So there's a difference there. Because devotional service to Krishna never stops. So, and this is what Prabhupada taught, that, yeah, even sannyasis can cook, because why? They're cooking for Krishna, not for the personal sense gratification. Bara Haridas, Ara Chota Haridas, Dui Kirtaniya, Rahima Prabhura Pasha. Bara Haridas and Chota Haridas, the 24th and 25th devotees in Nilachal, were good singers who always accompanied Lord Chaitanya. Chota Haridas was later banished from the company of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, as stated in the Antya Leela, chapter 2. So they are the 24th and 25th devotees in Jagannath Puri are Bara Haridas and Chota Haridas. They both are singers. They were always with Lord Chaitanya, but later, because of some something that happened, Chota Haridas was banished. We will read about it in the Antya Leela more in detail. Rama Bhadracharya Ara Odara Simheshwara Tapana Acharya Ara Raghunilambara. Among the devotees who lived with Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu at Jagannath Puri, Rama Bhadracharya was the 26th, Simheshwara the 27th, Tapana Acharya the 28th, Raghunath Bhattacharya the 29th, and Nilambar the 30th. So Ramabhadra Acharya, the 26th, Simheshwar, 27th, Tapana Acharya, 28th, Raghunath Bhattacharya, 29th, and Nilambar, 30th. Shinga Bhatta Kama Bhatta Dantura Shivananda Gaure Purva Bhritya Prabhura Priya Kamalananda. Shinga Bhatta was the 31st, Kama Bhatta the 32nd, Shivananda the 33rd, and Kamalananda the 34th. They all formerly served Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Bengal, but later these servants left Bengal to live with the Lord in Jagannath Puri. The 31st devotee is Singha Bhatta, Kama Bhatta is 32nd, Shivananda 33rd, Kamalananda 34th. They were all with Lord Chaitanya in Bengal before, but they left Bengal to live in Jagannath Puri with Lord Chaitanya. So from Bengal, they came to Jagannath Puri to be with Lord Chaitanya. Achyutananda Advaita Acharya Tanaya Nilachale Rahe Prabhura Charana Ashraya. Achyutananda, the 35th devotee, was the son of Advaita Acharya. He also lived with Lord Chaitanya, taking shelter of his lotus feet at Jagannath Puri. There is a statement about Achyutananda in chapter 12, verse 13 of the Adi Leela. So Achyutananda, he is the son of Advaita Acharya. The son of Advaita Acharya. He was also living with Lord Chaitanya. He was serving Lord Chaitanya and in Jagannath Puri. Nirloma Gangadas, Ara Vishnudas, Esabera Prabhu Sange Nila Chalevas. Nirloma Gangadas and Vishnudas were the 36th and 37th among the devotees who lived at Jagannath Puri as servants of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So there was also Nirloma Gangadas and Vishnudas. They were also living in Jagannath Puri as servants of Lord Chaitanya. Varanasi Madhye Prabhura Bhakta Tina Jana Chandrasekhara Vaidya Ara Mishra Tapana Raghunatha Bhattacharya Mishra Nandana Prabhuya Bek Kashi Aila Dekhi Vrindavana Chandrasekhara Grahe Kaila Dui Masa Vasa Tapana Mishra Gare Bhiksha Dui Masa. The prominent devotees at Varanasi were the physician Chandrasekhar, Tapan Mishra, and Raghunath Bhattacharya, Tapan Mishra's son. When Lord Chaitanya came to Varanasi, after seeing Vrindavan for 2 months, he lived at the residence of Chandrasekhar Vaidya and accepted prasadam at the house of Tapan Mishra. So when Lord Chaitanya, he visited Vrindavan, after that he came to Varanasi. And in Varanasi, he was staying at the house of Chandrasekhar, and he would go to Tapan Mishra to accept his meals. And Tapan Mishra's son, Raghunath Bhattacharya, would also serve him. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was in Bengal, Tapan Mishra approached him to discuss spiritual advancement. Thus, he was favored by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and received Harinam initiation. After that, by the order of the Lord, Tapan Mishra resided in Varanasi, and when Lord Chaitanya visited Varanasi, he would accept prasadam at the home of Tapan Mishra. So Tapan Mishra, when Lord Chaitanya was there in Bengal, that time Tapan Mishra went to meet Lord Chaitanya and asked him about about spiritual life, about spiritual matters. And he received the mercy of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Lord Chaitanya initiated him into chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, Harinam initiation. And Lord Chaitanya told Tapan Mishra to go and live in Varanasi. After that, by the order of Lord, Tapan Mishra resided in Varanasi. So the Lord told him, you stay in Varanasi. And when the Lord visited Varanasi, he would go to Tapan Mishra's house to take his meals there at the home of Tapan Mishra. Raghunath Balaye Kaila Prabhura Sevana Uchista Marjana Arapada Samvahana. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu stayed at the house of Tapan Mishra, Raghunath Bhatt, who was then a boy, washed his dishes and massaged his legs. This is the same Raghunath Bhatt. When he grows up, he becomes one of the Goswamis of Vrindavan, one of the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan. But when he was a small boy, when Lord Chaitanya came at the house of Tapan Mishra, then Raghunath Bhatt is the son of Tapan Mishra. Then Raghunath Bhatt would serve Lord Chaitanya. He would serve him by washing his dishes, massaging his legs, because he's a small boy, so whatever little services he can do, he would do. So Raghunath Bhatt is the son of Tapan Mishra, and later on he goes to Vrindavan. Raghunath Bhatt is one of the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan. So let us stop here for today. Stop here. Caitanya Caritamrita ki jai. Shila Prabhupada ki jai. Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Hare Krishna.